because of these weirdos, this troupe that I met Didi Ramon for the first time. Because he used to come to see one of these girls that live right above me. I was painting in those days. My door was always open. So Didi would just stick his head in and say hello at the beginning. And then little by little he got friendlier and friendlier. And he would come in and then we started talking. And he started telling me about this band that him and his friends were putting together and just how good they were going to be, et cetera, et cetera. But that's how I met him.
All right, then how did you first wind up seeing the Ramones? You mentioned a year.
After I met Didi Ramon in probably the fall of '73. And he kept telling me all the progress that was being made between him and his friends putting this band together. And I wasn't paying that much attention to him. By then, like I said, I was very disappointed with what was happening in music, and I didn't think anybody was going to do anything that different, anymore. I thought rock and roll was over. That's it. I thought, this is it. It just lasted, maybe, I guess it was, 20 years, 25 years since, So I thought it was over. But anyway, he keeps telling me about what they're doing. And one day, I was painting this. I was doing these paintings that looked like supermarket ads, like Washington Fancy Apples, 90 cents a pound, and I used masking tape to produce that, the hard edge, surface. And one day, as I'm peeling the tape off, Didi was watching me, and I guess it seemed to him like a magic trick. Like all of a sudden, I'm peeling this tape off, and voila, there is a painting there. And I think that impressed him, and he looked at them, and then he asked me, "These are paintings, right?" And I said, "Yeah, they're paintings." He goes, "This is art, right?" I said, "Yeah, hopefully this is art." And I remember he said, "Oh, art is okay, but it's not that important." And I just kept, after that I kept thinking, what did he mean by that? Did he really mean does he know what art is, even if it's just to himself? Does he think about these things? Can he tell the difference between what is art and what is not art? I started just wondering, just how deep Didi could get. And but then he started telling me that, about the band, and that they were going to play for the first time at this rehearsal space somewhere in the 20s or 30s. And he invited me, so I was there. And that was the first time they played as a trio. It was just Johnny Ramone, Didi, and Joey. Joey was playing drums. And that was the very first time they played.
Who else was there?
Tommy Ramone was there, but he wasn't in the band yet. And Monty Melnick, the guy who became their tour manager. I think Monty and Tommy ran the place.
It's Performance Studios, right?
Oh, right. It was a rehearsal.
Yeah, Performance Studios.
Rehearsal recording studio, maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
And I went there in full, glam attire,
Say that again. I went to see the very first time the Ramones played in full glam attire. Say that again, please.
The very first time I saw them at this performance studio, the very first time they played together, I went there in full glam regalia, My hair was bleached 2 or 3 colors. I think I was wearing a plastic raincoat, white plastic raincoat, and probably just a few 5 or 6 scarves around my neck or stuff like that, and platform shoes, of course, that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was a party. I didn't pay much attention when they played, except to the fact that Joey was a very original drummer. I think Joey was the only one. And I looked at Diddy. I was trying to see or to find out what it was happening because of what he had told me they were trying to do. And since I thought I knew my rock and roll, I thought, okay, I'm going to pay attention for a couple of songs to see what's going on. And I think I just drew. I don't think I made any conclusions about what they were or were not. I was probably just wondered. They just left me with a question mark, I guess. But I liked the way Joey looked playing drums, and I like the way they looked playing their music. I'm sure I didn't like the music because it was a disaster. The music was a disaster at the time. It took them a while, Later on, people would say that even years later, the music was still a disaster. But if you heard them the very first time, that was a disaster. In a matter of months, they had already developed the full Ramones style. Then I knew that was something. But it took months. It didn't take them very long. It did take months for the full Ramones sound and style to develop. And that started happening, of course, when Tommy started playing drums and everything kind of like gelled together. But the very first time, it was a disaster. But the way they look playing that disaster was very interesting.